what's going on in our classrooms, critically important. We pay for all this. Your children are in these classrooms. It is mandatory that they go to public school. They don't go to public school, they have to go to other schools, which I understand. But the vast majority of children go to public schools because most parents can't afford otherwise. And as I say, we pay for all this. And we're always told teachers aren't paid enough, they don't have enough benefits. How do we know this? Do we actually know what the budgets are? Have we actually looked at the teachers' contracts? I think they're pretty well off considering all the people who were unemployed during the pandemic, while every single teacher in the country was paid, had medical care, had eyeglass care, had all kinds of care. As a matter of fact, when I was at one of these eye places to get new glasses, there were several teachers there. They weren't working, but I overheard one of them say, yes, my teacher's plan or my union plan pays for my eyeglasses, 100%. It's time we really look at this because I think we're just abused as taxpayers and as parents, and we don't really pay much attention to it. And one of the things that has to be done is the classroom itself. Now, the teachers know what's going on in the classroom. Your kids know, but many of them are very young. They can't really explain what's going on in the classroom. The administrators know what's going on in the classroom. The school board knows what's going on in the classroom. The trainers who are training your teachers to indoctrinate, they know what's going on in the classroom, but you don't. Why? Why is it that cops wear body cameras so we know their every move? For the most part, your children have no interaction with police officers, or if they do, it's mostly good, and yet they have to wear body cams. Why? Because the left insisted on it. Okay, fine. What about the classroom, where your kids are? Now, you were watching the internet. You saw how many of them were being taught. That's how you figured out that many of them are learning this critical race theory, which is basically racism. Whereas I've been saying now, and will continue to say, it's Louis Farrakhan's anti-Semitism, anti-Americanism, hate for white people, dressed up in scholarship. That's basically the end and the beginning of critical race theory. Oh, with one major exception, with Marxism mixed in. With Marxism mixed in. That's what it is. And we can talk about it, and we'll talk about it more, and it needs to be talked about more. But now that we know this is going on in classrooms, isn't this more of a reason to know what's going on? More of a reason to have a routine, systemic way to see what's going on? I think so. And if teachers are teaching history or they're having debates or whatever it is, that's good to know too. That's healthy. So this came up in a phone call to my radio show on June 15th. And I first also began to discuss it based on an article in the American Thinker, where an outfit in Nevada has been pushing for cameras on teachers, making it mandatory so we know what the teachers are doing. And I got to thinking, well, you know, teachers go to the bathroom, they take breaks too. I don't think so. But what about cameras in the classroom? That's essentially what took place during this pandemic, right? Cameras in the classroom. Why give that up? Why not go on offense and insist on the transparency? If the unions want to fight it and the administrators want to fight it, they'll fight it. But we need to fight too. We need to push back too. Those are our children. That's the next generation. Do you want them brainwashed, hating the country? Do you want them brainwashed, hating themselves? No, that's enough already. We want to know what's going on in the classrooms. We want to monitor it, and we should. And this ought to be one of the battles. It's actually not in the book. I have other things in the book, but this is the kind of thing I want to happen here on my radio show, where I will present a lot of ideas and strategies, but other people may have ideas and strategies we want to discuss too. And my national platform, where we're heard in every corner of the United States, really in the world, we can talk about these agendas, push these agendas, network these agendas. Oh boy, you better believe there's a target in the back of my head, but so be it. Anyway, let's take a listen to this. This was on June 15th, almost a month ago. Go.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. I saw something interesting. The American Thinker website, Tom Lifson's site. He writes, thanks to Don Serber, who's a great guy, I learned of a proposal from the Nevada Family Alliance to require teachers at government schools to wear body cameras. Did you hear this, Mr. Producer? If this does not strike you immediately as absolutely necessary, take a look at this recording, and they give examples of a number of teachers who are saying things in classrooms that they know they can get away with because they're not being recorded. I actually think this is a brilliant idea, but I would amend it slightly. Why have body cameras? Every classroom should have a camera. Now, you know, this is the kind of out-of-the-box thinking that is very, very important. This is the kind of going on offense tactic that really is a game changer. Parents have every right to know what their children are being taught. It shouldn't be guesswork. Taxpayers have every right to know what's going on in the classrooms that they're paying for. We taxpayers, parents or otherwise, are paying for everything related to the government schools. They're government schools, public schools. Now, in many cases, we have cameras in the courtroom, not all, but many, to see what's taking place in the courtroom. Courtrooms are supposed to be public. We don't have secret trials in this country. Well, why do we have secret classrooms in this country? Why do we have secret classrooms in this country? So I would recommend to the parents' organizations in Loudoun County and other counties in this country, you should take up this cause. You want to know. We want to know. We, the people.
I think it's a great idea. Now, some people have come back and say, you know, they do this in totalitarian regimes. What does that have to do with this? The government knows what's going on in these classrooms. It's we, the people, who don't know what's going on in these classrooms. So the teachers' unions and its members, with some exceptions, but the vast majority of them, are working with these government institutions to advance this ideology. So what does this have to do with totalitarianism? We're living through this tyranny. So the point of having a camera in there is to bust up this totalitarianism. So we're not Russia, we're not China, we're America. The problem is this union and these administrators and these school boards are in cahoots. And they're trying to prevent us from knowing what's going on in these classrooms, prevent us from knowing what's going on in contract negotiations, preventing us from knowing how teachers are hired, how they're protected. I mean, folks, we pay for 100% of this, whether it's your local taxes or your state income taxes, or if it's some federal grant to your school district or whatever. We're paying for all of this, and we're the only ones that don't know what the hell's going on. So I'm not buying this argument. I'm not buying these nervous Nellies. It's time for action. And one of the things we must demand is that there are cameras in the classroom. Just as all through the pandemic, the teacher would sit in front of a camera, that is her computer or laptop, Zooming with all your kids. Okay, why are we giving that up? We are to know more during the pandemic about what's going on in teaching than we are after the pandemic? That is absurd. So this is something I'm promoting. There have been at least 2 individuals on Fox who have embraced this idea without attribution to the American Thinker or my program, and I don't even care about that anymore. Let's just get it out there and let's push it. So this will be one of the things we talk about on the release of the book, among many. There are other things we must do, and the teachers' unions are becoming more brazen. As a matter of fact, the union boss that runs the American Federation of Teachers said that they are raising funds and have funds. They're prepared to legally protect and defend their teachers. Should they teach this theory and be challenged? And the National Education Association has just promoted and said that every one of its teachers is going to push this theory. So they have a problem now. On the one hand, you have MSNBC and the rest of the media fronting for critical race theory, saying they're not teaching critical race theory. They're just teaching history and the racist aspects of what took place in this country. Well, that's not what they're doing. Many of us have already been taught that and are well aware of it. On the other hand, their unions are now saying, we're going to teach critical race theory. Wait a minute, I thought they weren't. And we're going to protect every teacher who promotes it, whether parents and taxpayers like it or not. Now I'm confused. Not really. They're liars.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.